Well, hello, bonjour, and welcome to Canada. This is the 2019 FIA World Rallycross Championship, and has travelled across the Atlantic for the first time this year. And that is the daunting prospect that awaits the world's greatest rallycross drivers. They've been practicing their launches here, cleaning their tyres, and the longest and fastest straight of the championship. Thank you very much for joining us. We have 10 live streams across the weekend. There's ARX, ARX2, and this is World RX. So thank you for joining us. Let us know where you're watching from in the world and who the drivers are that you are rooting for. Now, this is round 7. Let's have a look at where we've been and where we're going. So we started the season in Abu Dhabi. We've been across Europe. Last time we were at the Magic Weekend in Sweden, but we are now in Canada. We're between Montreal and Quebec, in the French-speaking Quebec part of Canada. Trois-Rivières is the name of the city, and the event is a classic event called the GP3R, which is Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. That's the simple bit. So here we go, and apparently this is the oldest street circuit in North America. If you spin around, Billy, let's have a look. The cars are gathering. We're less than 8 minutes away from qualifying 1, which you can watch live here on your live stream. So Cyril Raymond there, Gerlan Shisheritz getting ready. Let's see if we can just jump in and have a quick word with, there's Ollie. Have a quick word with Timmy Hansen if we can. Timmy, sorry to jump in, we're live streaming. Welcome to Canada. How are you feeling before this session starts?
Feel excited to get going. I love this track. It's a huge challenge. Walls are always so close and still have to be 100% committed. So I'm really excited to get going, see what race it's gonna be, and enjoy that race. Even if hopefully I take the start and I can do 4 good laps, or if not, maybe there's a fight with Timur. I had a good battle with him. Was it in Spa? Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited, to get whatever is coming and enjoy the racing.
Now, it must give you some confidence that of the current field of World Rallycross Championship, you're the only driver still in the championship that has actually won here before. So does that give you an extra confidence?
Yeah, you give me confidence now. That feels good. Yeah.
And obviously, there's a little bit of rain in the air. It's been raining on and off for about an hour. How do you think that's going to affect the surface?
Right now, it's dry. If we look down. So before, just a minute ago, it was wet, but I think the tarmac's so hot, so it just dries up. Maybe the gravel's going to be a little humid, but gravel, small humidity is no big deal. So I expect the track to be quite good. If not, it starts raining more. It's just dropping down a little bit right now. So yeah, we'll see. It's like dark clouds everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good luck to me. We'll be watching. Thank you. So here we go. The cars are gathering. It's about to get very, very loud. And the people who are ready in the commentary booth, which is over there, are Andrew Coley and Dan Rook.
We've moved. We used to be on the roof over there, but we've been banned from the roof. Something to do with nearly being blown off it by a thunderstorm last year, torrential rain, cables being dragged over roofs and stuff. But actually, Dan, there are pluses and minuses to being stood here, aren't there?
Yeah, I mean, it's super loud being stood here because we're at the bridge on the start-finish line. So it's super loud, but we get an awesome run of them off the start line.
It's been fantastic. I've got to be. You have to have a look on Instagram. We've just been up here loving it. We can see the start is pretty much right in front of us. So you can see there where our commentary position is. We're on the left-hand side of your picture there. So that's from turn 1, where the stairs go up to the GP3R bridge. Just beyond that is the spotters tower. So we're in here with the spotters. Who's behind us now? I can see Kenneth Hansen's up here. I can see the guys from GRX are up here, GCK as well. So that's down to turn 2. Of course, Tanner Faust ended up in the wall last year there with ARX, and that's claimed a few victims in World RX2. They then go around a double. Oh, there we go. There you go. That's there we are, up at this end. There we are, waving. That's us, and the spotters are just up behind us. So it's a cracking venue. Take a look at this track map, and we'll try and give you a few more of the details. As you're aware already, one of the longest straights off the start there. It's 1,370 metres with the Joker 1,455. 61% asphalt, 39% dirt, so quite a lot of dirt. It's a clockwise track. You can see the Joker there is in about turn 5, basically. There's a jump in and out of the track at the gravel section because, of course, that's the horse racing circuit in the middle, which we'll try and get your shot off so you can get a bit more of an understanding of what we mean by that. And we've been coming here for 6 years, so since the World Rallycross Championship started in 2014, we have always been at GP3R. It's now, in fact, a double weekend thanks to Rallycross being here. It was just the NASCAR weekend originally, and now we've got an extra weekend for World RX. There's the Joker lap. The Jeep is parked just in the middle of it. And Dan, the gravel's looking pretty, well, actually, it's now starting to look a little bit wetter because it's raining a little bit.
Yeah, so we can see the guys there changing tyres. I think they're going back to the slick tyre as opposed to the wet tyre. We saw a few spots of rain. It wasn't anything heavy, but the forecast is saying thunderstorms for some points through today. So we might end up seeing some more rain, but for now, I'd say it's the track is dry. So back on the slicks.
Yeah. We wouldn't mind if it rained a little bit. Timazyanov getting himself ready down there on the grid as we get ourselves ready up here. He's going to hook his head and neck safety device on. Look, that's the hybrid device, isn't it, Dan? I've always worn hands. Have you tried the hybrid?
I've not tried the hybrid. I've heard it's more comfortable. We can see Shisha there has the hybrid device as well. But yeah, the devices they use to reduce the risk if you have a really sudden stop. It stops their head rolling around and getting whiplash or breaking necks.
Yeah, exactly. There's Liam Doran having a chat with Ghislain Chicheret. I had a chat with Ghislain just about 20 minutes or so ago. We were down there talking to them about some stuff we needed for TV, and he was saying he's struggling with the first corner. So he said, I've always driven on the loose, I've always driven off-road, was how he described it. He said, I've never really been taught how to drive on tarmac. It's just completely different.
Yeah, it's so different, and this turn one here, you've got to be super smooth and no sideways, so it's hard to adapt.
So we are coming into, what are we on, round 6? Round 6 now, round 7. Round 7 we're on now. It gets confusing this time of year. It used to be 12 rounds. We're down to 10 this season, of course, so it really is into crunch time. Canada was always kind of the mid-season break, but actually we're past that point already. I'd say there are 4 rounds left, so we're here in Canada. Then, of course, we head across to Loic, Latvia, and then South Africa. At the minute, as you can see, Kevin Hansen leads the driver standings by 6 points. Andreas Backrud is, what is he, 16 points back off the guys, is he? Trying to add up very quickly. You know how good I am at live maths. Niklas Granholm in there too. Really, Granholm and Backrud, if they want to mount any kind of a challenge, Dan, it's got to be now, and it's got to be comprehensive until the end of the season. Otherwise, we're going to be looking at a two-way fight between the two Hansens, I think, as we approach the end of the year. Yeah, so these two guys, they're going to have to absolutely nail the rest of the season. And, of course, if both the Hansens keep it consistent as well and keep it up there, they've got enough of a buffer to not have to worry too much. But if, both Andreas and Niklas start pumping in the good work, and maybe the Hansens run into a bit of trouble, it's going to be super tight at the end of the year. Last-minute tyre pressures down there on one of the GCK cars. They are indeed on the slicks. And that's Chicheret's car. They're making those changes too. So we'll get back to talking about Ghislain in a minute. Yesterday, the grid draw was done differently. So if you didn't see it and you'd like to, go and have a look on Facebook. So we did it all on Facebook Live. In ARX this year, what we've done is we have a random list of the drivers, and then they get to choose where they go on the grid. So in World RX, we've always just randomised the grid completely. And the drivers make a fuss, it's not random, I always have a bad draw, etc., etc. So they can still have a bad draw now because their name on the random list might appear at the bottom all the while. But Dan, I prefer it this way. It's a bit of a show for the crowd last night for a start. We saw people choosing, and we saw them choosing tactics according to grid position, but also what race they were in. Yeah, so of course the obvious choice for the guys is to go straight away on pole position, but for here, for example, I think we've got 2-3 car races, haven't we? So some of the guys were choosing rather to go in the 3-car race rather than choosing pole position on a later race, because then you avoid less carnage when there's only 3 of you on track. Yeah, and that was exactly what Timmy Hansen did. He was early in the draw. He's about 5th or 6th person in the draw, and he chose immediately to go in race 1. So Cyril Raymond had already chosen the inside, and he said, you know what, I'm going to go in that early race because I only want to have 3 cars on track. So he was thinking of a clean run in turn 1, get himself further back. Of course, the rain looks like it stopped. I have to say the straight has dried up compared to how it was a few moments ago. The gravel looks damp. I expect the braking time will be slightly different, but let's see. Here we go. Q1, race 1, Cyril Raymond on the inside. Timmy Hansen lines up P2, and Timur Timazyanov, who was very quick this morning in free practice, is in slot number 3. So there's actually a kink left, which you could argue is the first corner. So, that kind of puts Timazyanov on the inside of that run down to the first corner. But of course, the proper turn 1 is the right-hander at the end of the straight, so it's going to be a huge drag race down to there. Here we go. We know the Peugeot starts fast. Timmy Hansen creeping slightly on the clutch, gets away this time. Bit of tyre smoke for him. Oh, Timosyanov, but look at the speed of the GRX machine. He's going to move across, try and shut the door on Hansen. Hansen up the inside, down towards the wall. Thinks better of it, backs out. Cyril Raymond come from wide, going to go tight. Hansen moves across though to block that line, and it's Timosyanov who's got the lead down to turn 2.
Yeah, sensible move there by Timmy Hansen to back out of it. It's only Q1, so he doesn't want to get squeezed in the wall. We saw it happen to him as he goes to the joker lap now, so only 3 cars. He's got the option to do that, get himself out of the way, and Cyril there is sticking with Timosyanov as well.
Yeah, sensible move from Timmy, so he's lost out at the start, and again, Dan, that's one of the reasons for taking this 3-car race, isn't it? He knows tactically he wouldn't have gone Joker 1 if this was a 5-car race because there's too much traffic.
Yeah, too much traffic, but you can see now he's already got a clear track in front of him. The only risk that he runs into now is catching up with the back of Cyril Raymond, but I'm sure he's going to have enough pace to not be compromising Timmy.
Timosyanov comes past the commentary position. The speed is very, very evident from where we are here, Dan. You know, we've been used to being up on the roof fairly early on the straight. It is flat out, and the drivers are all saying it's great to see 6th gear.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and these cars are so fast, but we've got them. They're just hitting the brakes as they come beside us on the commentary point, so we're seeing them at the fastest they will go all season as they pass us.
Cyril Raymond with a lovely weight transfer, flicks the car back the other way. Super important for a fast lap time to get that weight transfer right as you go from the joker lap corner into the right-hander, and then this one here as well, Dan. We've got to get the nose of the car so close to the wall, and it's all risk here. Yeah,
there is so much risk because there's no runoff. It's all concrete barriers, but there are a few pinpoint crucial parts to this lap, and that last corner is one of them, because if you lose a tenth on the exit on the way out of the corner, you've lost all that time down the really long straight.
Timosyanov still out front, the only driver to have jokered Timmy, of course. Timmy's now behind Cyril, lap 3 of 4. If Cyril stays out now, that's going to compromise Timmy. Fastest lap of the day, so the tactics are working. In fact, Cyril Raymond's gone joker, and that's released Timmy. That's perfect timing.
Yeah, lucky for Timmy there that he got released and wasn't going to be held up. Of course, we've got slightly down gravel now as well, so he ran the risk of getting so much spray from the back of Cyril Raymond's car and affecting his vision, let alone, you know, having him hold him up on time-wise. So now he's lucky enough he can try and close the gap to Timosyanov now as they come on the last lap now as they come across the line.
Tim has got a joker this time. The gap at the moment was 2.8. Let's see what it is as they come across the line. You can see Hansen in the background. Tyres screaming as they head down into turn 1. Tim has maintained that gap at 2.8. Now he needs to get a great joker up. Here we go. Timosyanov into the right-hander. On the gas now. I thought this track would be good for them. We know how strong the Hyundai is engine-wise. Hansen's taken a 10th out of him in the first sector. Timosyanov trying to find the traction. Timmy Hansen's got the speed. Timosyanov's got the inside line. Timmy gives him a bit of room and have a look up the inside here. But he can't quite make it up. And these guys, barring any mistakes, are going to finish pretty much where they were on the way into turn 1.
Yeah, sensible move there from Timosyanov, putting the good laps. Of course, Timmy was actually closing, but not able to get himself in front. But these guys are going to be on for a good time. They didn't try to hold each other up out of the joker.
Cyril Raymond got out the way just in time. Did it cost Timmy Hansen the win? Or would he have been behind Timosyanov anyway? It's Timosyanov who takes the very first race of the GP3R Rallycross weekend. 3:26.4 is the time of the Russian. I say he was super quick this morning during practice, and he'll be hoping that that's going to continue for the rest of the day. Here's the result: 3:26.4, 3:26.9. Timmy did catch up with Cyril Raymond. He got out of the way pretty quickly. I would argue there wasn't a lot in it. I think maybe not enough to have got the overlap of Timosyanov at the joker lap merge. And of course, when you do come off the joker lap here, you have the inside line anyway, so it's always kind of an advantage to come off the joker. But Timmy got it done, and he takes that first win, rolling back to the paddock now. Track looks in really good condition, Dan.
Yeah, it looks like they've been rolling and regrading the track since practice this morning, so we're not seeing any of the ruts start to form on the track. Of course, it's still a bit damp as well because we did have a little bit of dampness.
Sending them back into the paddock. That's where they come off the gravel section and in. This was the start. There was a little bit of wheel spin for Timmy. We saw smoke off the start. But then here, I mean, you can see the Peugeot and the Hyundai super close in terms of pace. Cyril Raymond clever, wasn't he? Because he knew that where they've gone defensive, in theory, he was going to get the undercut. But they were wise to that and just kept the door shut.
Yeah, I think also maybe these guys weren't sure of the grip levels on the way into turn 1, so maybe he slowed down a little bit too much, and that meant they were tighter on the way out as well.
Yeah, great job by Timosyanov. He takes it.
Timmer, it's always good to get a first heat win. How was it for you?
Yeah, actually it was a clean run. We were so lucky that we can get the draw yesterday. I know Tim is a clear guy. No problems on the start line, and after that, yeah, I tried to protect a little bit myself and get some push onto the back. After that, it was clean run. The track is a little bit muddy. I think they prepared the track, and yeah, I think we lose a little bit of time. The next round, if the rain will not go, it will be faster, but yeah, it's okay.
The pace of the car looks very good, but did you feel the pressure from Timmy behind?
No, I don't feel. I was driving my own race. I think we are losing in the sector 1 quite much compared to the guys, but after that, yeah, it's good speed.
Well done, thank you.
Thank you.
Timmer looking pretty hot and sweaty in there. It's fairly warm. Dan's got his coat on. I mean, that's very pessimistic of you, Dan. You a bit cold?
No, I'm actually all right temperature-wise, but I have visited Canada before, and it was torrential rain. So as soon as I saw the drops, I wanted to be prepared. The inner scout in me came out.
And the coat went on.
The coat did go on.
The coat went on. I have to say, I haven't bought either of my coats because I didn't look at the weather forecast this morning. So both mine are back at the hotel, which is about a mile away, which is no use at all. Luckily, we do have a canopy overhead, as you can see. But in fact, one year I didn't bring my coats to Canada at all, and it absolutely poured with rain the entire time we were here. So yeah, I'm not very good at Canadian weather. There we go. Is that one of the bridges over one of the 3 rivers here? Trois-Rivières, 3 rivers, if you weren't sure. That's a lovely long view. It's a cool little town. Decent nightlife scene. There was a parade last night. All the cars went down into town. Decent party atmosphere. Drivers signing autographs. I say we did the draw down there. That's going to be a feature now from now on. They'll get that random list of drivers, and they get to choose their grid slot. It's quite good fun. And some of the drivers were saying, how long have I got? Because they wanted to talk to their engineers, Dan, but we weren't allowing that, were we? We were just saying, get on with it, choose a slot.
Yeah, so drivers really need to be hot on it to make sure they don't you know, make themselves in a bad heat. But of course, no one can predict the weather as well. And actually, Timozhanov was saying it looks like the later races here were going to be faster.
So if it dries up a bit, is the track going to get much quicker? He certainly looked like he was trying quite hard out there. Not sure how much of a difference it will make to the gravel section, but certainly the tarmac. Maybe they'll get a bit braver on the brakes into turn 1. Heading down to turn 1 together this time, Gulan Chicherit, Ollie Bennett and Liam Doran. So the 2 Brits together in this with the GCK team boss. But no teammates, so nothing for these guys to worry about. They're going to be looking for clean track. Bennett, yes, they were saying he gets good starts in the Mini and he wants to try and get to turn 1 first. But he doesn't get the best start. Chicherit does, but Bennett's got loads of power down the straight. Doran maybe going to edge them all, though, coming down the right-hand side of your straight, left-hand side of the straight. Liam Doran late on the brakes. Oh, contact! Into the side of Chicherit, lights the tyres up, holds on in the Audi. Bennett's up his inside into turn 2, but thinks better of it. Doran a bit squirrely on the brakes. Chicherit runs slightly wide. Doran's right up underneath him again. I reckon Liam will go Joker lap here. Chicherit goes down to the Liam does go straight to the Joker.
Yeah, perfect move for Liam there. You can see him grab the handbrake on the way into the corner, and he just ran really wide. So the track is still quite damp out there. The guys just finding their way around. Of course, this is lap 1 they've had with it being slightly damper. As Ollie makes a bit of a mistake there as well, running really wide.
And he clips the wall, so Bennett's in the wall just slightly. Liam Doran's going to get past. Bennett will slot in behind him, and he does. That braking that's up there, Dan, is so hard, isn't it? Because you've got dirt coming out onto tarmac and concrete. It's downhill, then the transition onto the racetrack.
Yeah, and it's so narrow as well. It's a blind entry into turn 1. You can't see where you want to be turning in, and the car is really unsettled, and it's so many different factors to make that one of the most challenging corners on the calendar.
So Liam Doran has had a spot of luck with that mistake by Bennett. He's going to hunt Chicherit down. Chicherit, I'll say, he was saying to me he's never really learned to drive properly on tarmac, but he said he reckons he's losing nearly half a second in the first sector because of turn 1. He was very honest about it. He said, I've just got to get my head around it, you know, and make the car work. But why is it so difficult down such a high-speed braking zone?
Yeah, it is. It's really high speed, and the car, when you're at that speed, trying to brake that hard, it starts to become unbalanced and move around a little bit, and then you want to then be rolling the speed all the way through the corner. It's quite a wide exit on turn 1, so you're able to carry the momentum, and that's maybe just not quite something that Chicherit's been able to grasp.
Doran into that right-hander. The gap is now 2.5. We saw it was 2.8 in the previous race, that it was enough for Timozhanov to hold on. In fact, it went down to 2.7, didn't it, in the end? So Shishirik goes standard lap again, and Liam Doran will try and take another couple of tenths out of him, properly sending it in the McGann. Now, the other thing that was interesting is Shishirik said any mistake here costs you loads of time, because every particularly these transitions where you're trying to flick the car. Watch Liam here, great car control as always. It's about exit speed. You make a mistake on this double right-hander. Look, he's taken 4 tenths out. Liam Doran moving the car around Scandinavian style on the brakes. But this corner here, you've got to get bang on for the straight.
Yeah, you have to make sure you're not running the car too sideways on the way out. You have to be pointing as straight as you can because of how long that straight is. You know, 1/10 lost at the exit of the corner could mean half a second by the time you get to the end of the straight. Funny
enough, it went 2.1 back up to 2.4, so Shishirik, you can see how much this ebbs and flows in just the course of a few corners. 2.2, 2 tenths off for Doran. Shishirik goes Joker. 2.7 was enough last time for Timosyanov to hold on. 2.2 is not enough. And Liam Doran comes through to get ahead. Target time, bottom right of your screen, is 3:26.4. So 3:26.4 Liam is aiming for to try and go top of the standings here ahead of Timosyanov. Timosyanov felt the track would get quicker. Liam Doran, to me, has still been moving around quite a lot on the brakes, so maybe it's not there just yet. But here we go, he's going to stop the clocks. He's only got 6 seconds to get down to that checkered flag. How close is it going to be? Close enough. A huge bang there of the anti-lag as someone comes past us flat out. It sounds mint up here. Bennett crosses the line as well. But Shishirik with a huge bang from the anti-lag as he crossed the start-finish line. But Doran has taken the race and he has gone fastest. 3:25.8, look, is 6 tenths quicker than Timosyanov had gone before. The British bomb going well here in Canada. There he is, ahead of Shishirik and Bennett. And here's where they slot in so far. So that's the 2 3-car encounters done. We've got 2 5 cars coming up for you next. So this is a look back at the start. Reaction time was pretty similar across, but Bennett got a lot of wheel spin again in the same slot that Hansen got wheel spin in. Yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe the start line is a bit damp. I'm trying to look from our commentary position to see, and it does look like there's a little bit of a damp patch there. There's Ollie making the mistake, which really kind of made Liam's race at this point because he knew he had to get past Ollie because he hadn't jokers. Yeah, absolutely. So that worked out for Liam, a little bit like Cyril Raymond had worked out. Liam's joker was pretty wild. I actually think he maybe lost 2 or 3 tenths in there. If you look at Shishirik's joker was tidier, but Liam through that inside line, absolutely fantastic. So Liam Doran has taken it, and at the minute he is fastest in Q1. So a great drive by Liam there, and Dan, we're looking up at the start. I'm going to say, well, we saw a fair bit of tyre smoke off the various different cars this morning, but you think slot number 2 maybe not so quick? Yeah, I mean, it seems that they are able to get a good initial launch, and then we see the tyre smoke come in where maybe they've hit a damp patch, spun up the wheels, and then hit another dry patch, and that's where the smoke's come from. The tyres have gripped up, and then they're able to get away again. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be very consistent grip across the grid there. Some of the fans up at the back of one of the grandstands. Here's a number of different vantage points. Some, of course, are built for the NASCAR weekend. There's a lovely grandstand up over the garages where you can be right up by the start, and you can see the kids wearing the ear defenders, and that's because these cars are super, super loud. So, right, Neil's with Liam. Let's go and have a chat.
Liam, you tried to go for a very nice round the outside move off the start. Didn't quite pay off, but you didn't need it in the end. Quickest so far.
Yeah, it's quite satisfying that it didn't work out to start with, but it did in the end. So, yeah, I think I had the gap. I was on the spot. I was calling, turn in, so I did turn in, but there was somebody there, I guess. But yeah, luckily the car didn't get damaged, I don't think. And I think the lap times were quite good. So different head on me to what I had on in Sweden. So let's not say I want it more, but I'm going to do a lot more to get it. So yeah, I'm quite confident this weekend. Car feels really good, and that was a great start.
Well done, Liam. Thank you.
Thanks.
Loading the rest of the grid. You can see Kevin in the background, so watch for his practice launch. Let's see if he gets this right. Ron, I'm going to line up next to him. Here we go. A few little adjustments. He'll have some feedback from Timmy earlier. Decent start, I think. Yeah, it didn't seem to bog down and not too much wheel spin, but now he's done one launch. He's going to have been putting some heat into the tyres, so maybe have to go up 1 click to not bog down. Because it was super close to bogging. Here's Gronholm. So what are you thinking there? Maybe down 1 click? Yeah, man, I'm not sure. I couldn't quite hear the RPM as well as I heard Kevin's on that one, but it seemed to be a fairly good launch there. Interestingly, Kevin Hansen, look at his grid slot there. He's put the car right over to the side as far as he can in that grid slot. Here we go. Q1 race 3, Timo Scheider on the inside, then it's Janis Baumanis, Anton Markland, Kevin Hansen and Niklas Gronholm. Loving this as a lineup. 5 cars from 5 different teams, so nobody has to play nice here in turn 1. Kevin Hansen, the World Championship leader. He won't want anything stupid to happen here, so doesn't mean he's going to play it safe, not at all. We don't lead World Championships by playing it too safe. Looked like he had to kick the clutch a little bit there. Markland's got a good start. Gronholm on the left-hand side getting a little bit of a squeeze. Scheider moves out. Baumanis moves across. Baumanis looking like he might get the whole shot. Scheider late on the brakes. Oh, but Markland, super late on the brakes and gets into turn 1 first. So Anton Markland, contact there between Scheider and Gronholm. Scheider slots in. Kevin Hansen at the back of the pack, but Markland there just brave and allowed the car to slide out from the middle of the pack on the brakes. Nicely done.
Yeah, Markland there with the perfect braking point for me, and yeah, just able to get himself out clear in front. Gronholm gone joker from P2, so there's a 5-car race here. It's not like we just saw in the last 2 races. He's gone from P2 into the joker lap, so he obviously feels he's got pace on Markland, but is he going to be now caught up in traffic? He's already onto the back of Kevin Hansen here. Yeah,
and Hansen's onto the back of Scheider, so Gronholm and Baumanis have gone with that early joker. Gronholm now on an absolute mission, so watch that gap. It's 3.0, 1.4 up to Kevin. They come over the line now, and it's 1.2 to Kevin. No, 1.1, sorry, so 1.1 seconds. So Kevin slightly further back from the leader, and Gronholm slightly nearer. Scheider 1.4 off, so Markland out front now. Those guys might start to watch out for Gronholm's lap times.
Yeah, they're going to have to start paying attention, and as Hansen goes, which he had to do because he was just all over the back of Scheider, where Gronholm had that extra clear space, and then Hansen out looking to go up the inside of Baumanis, but didn't quite carry the speed off the joker lap and has had to slot into P5.
And behind us, they're stamping their feet. The start team are stamping their feet. They're pleased to see that Baumanis has managed to edge Hansen. So now Gronholm with a bit of clear space will look to close that gap down. Remember, 2.7 was just about enough for Timo to hold on. What's it going to be this time round? The gap back to Gronholm is 2.8 still, so it's enough. So you could send Markland now, or you could leave him out for another lap. What's your money on?
I'd say they've got to send Markland now, I think. Judging from free practice lap times, I've not had a look at these lap times, to be fair. Gronholm was a 10th faster on that last lap, so they haven't sent Markland. They obviously feel like they've got the pace, but Scheider's still not gone out as well, so this could compromise Gronholm at this point.
So there's 1 lap left. Scheider and Markland will have to go together on the next one. The gap is being maintained at 2.8. Gronholm's got a little bit more space before he catches up to Scheider. You can see over the jump there, the Hyundai is just so good. Through the double right now. Such a long lap here, isn't it? It's pretty much the longest lap of the championship. And the gap at the minute is still 2.7. This is going to be super close, Dan.
Yeah, really close. Gronholm has gone fastest lap of the day with a 48.0, so I think that's 4 temps up on what Hansen had done before. Sorry, 2 temps up on Hansen, so Gronholm looking strong.
So Edoc's fastest lap of the day so far going to Niklas Gronholm. Markland with a very tidy joker, but Gronholm sends it up the inside. Markland going to try and hold on. Gronholm almost with enough pace to get past, but he can't quite. Markland's joker was absolutely bang on there. He was super tidy. He holds the position. Scheider holds on from Baumanis and Hansen as well. Wonder if there might be a move in the background here on the brakes. No, they're all going to be pretty sensible in the run down. So now it comes down to whether or not the track has got any quicker. Markland aiming for the time of Liam Doran, which is bottom right of your screen. I don't think he's quite got enough. Going to be close. 26.5, he hasn't. And in fact, Timosyanov's time from the first race is still quick enough, so Markland goes into P3 behind Doran and Timosyanov. But that was a good run. Particularly good was his joker lap. When you're desperate to get in front like that, it's easy to be ragged, and he was super patient.
Yeah, really patient, and his spotters would have been telling him, look, it's going to be so close. You have to nail this joker lap and get the exit speed, otherwise Gronholm would have been able to just stick it around the outside. But with him having such a tight and straight run off of that joker lap, he had carried that extra momentum to block Gronholm out.
Yeah, very, very nicely done, Anton Markland. Takes this one. Here is the result, 326.5 from Niklas Gronholm, Scheider, Baumanis and Kevin Hansen. 5 cars to come. And at the moment, Liam Doran is leading Q1 from Timosyanov. Markland third, Timmy Hansen fourth. But not a great run then for Kevin Hansen. The World Championship leader is a little way down. This was the start.
Fairly even across the board off the line, wasn't it? So we're not seeing too much of a damp patch, but watch for Markland on the brakes. You can see the nose of his car dips that little bit later than everybody else's and then carries that extra momentum so nobody can cut back up his inside.
It's brave to do that. Has he braked later, or is it just brake at the same time but with less pressure and allow the car to run a bit more? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was maybe just a fraction of a second, like a millisecond later, and you can see the nose of the car was really piling on the brakes. He didn't, you know, it wasn't quite so much, it was still full pressure, and he just carried the momentum through the corner and nailed it.
Well, Anton, a great race for you, great first corner, great joker. How did it feel?
Yeah, feels pretty good. Was a bit disappointed after free practice, didn't really get up to pace, and yeah, solid start. I don't know, everybody was braking very early into turn one, so I was like, okay, thank you, bye-bye, see you later. After that, a clean race, like you say, small mistakes here and there, but just a solid Q1. Good pace, and we will build on from this.
And what's the surface like? Talk us through the track conditions.
Yeah, they pulled all the gravel out again, so the big ruts was gone, but it's now very smooth and very, like, it's like driving on snow and ice. The grip level is quite good, but it's very slippery and you can drive the rally style. Massive fun, but it will be getting ruts and more difficult the longer we go.
Thanks, Anton, well done.
Thank you.
One more race left in Q1. Let's take a look at the lineup for race 4. Christian Sabo on the inside, then it's Guillaume de Ridder, Rokas Baciuska, Andreas Backrud and Jani Parsonen. Sabo recently married, as in last weekend, I think it is. Saw him yesterday. Hungarians wear the wedding ring on the right hand. I asked him about that. It's left hand if you're in the UK. I know I'm familiar that it's different in different countries, but it's always nice to see. And when you get to have a look at the back of Sabo's car in a minute, you'll see what the team did for him. I'm surprised he hasn't got cans tied to it with bits of string, to be honest. But they've mugged him, definitely. They said they were going to put a small sticker on the back of the car. It's not small. Here we go. Good start, Sabo, but great start backward. Baciuska contact with Guillaume de Ridder. They need to stay off each other, both GCK cars. Backward has got the whole shot by a mile, moves to the inside, shuts the door on Sabo. Sabo runs a little bit wide. Baciuska has a look up the inside of him, but I don't think he'll do it there. Parsonen going to go round both. Parsonen up to P3, great move.
Yeah, Parsonen didn't actually quite get the reaction time off the line, and we saw him slip backwards, but then able to just stick it around the outside. But backward for me that's the best start we've seen so far today. He was able to move across to the inside of the track before it even crossed the finish line here.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Andreas Backrud with a fantastic start and a great run to turn 1, and now clear air in front of him. So I would expect Backrud to go straight through to the end of this one. We'll keep an eye on his lap times. What was fastest lap of the day was
48.0,
wasn't it?
yes.
Yeah. 48.0 for Gronholm. We've seen a couple of warnings for track limits already popping up on the time screen. I'll find out what the score is for you here with those, because of course they've got the little markers around the outside. So Sabo, have a look at the back of his car and you'll see the just married sign. He's going to go around the right-hander now, and there you go, just married. Huge letters right the way across the back. I think when he apparently pulled the cover up over the car and was, oh, come on guys, really?
I don't even think it's a sticker either. I think they've done it with Sharpie, haven't they?
Brilliant. Even better. He'll be destroying that bumper and asking for a new one. But Sabo also running a track map on the side of his car. It is in fact the track map for Trois Rivières, and if you head across to his Instagram page, you can go and see what that's all about. So he's running a kind of a fan club, basically. Good for him. Baciuska at the back of this lot is the only driver to have joked so far. Backward, look at that, ahead of Sabo by 1.6. Over the line now. And it's just going up towards 1.7. Dan, what we see?
Lap time was 48.8, so actually 8 tenths off the fastest lap we've seen so far out there. But we weren't actually watching Andreas, not sure if he made any mistakes on that lap. He could have made a slight error, but you can see I love this corner here. Big send on the way in.
Parston with a completely different line, and you can see that bump now that's appearing on the apex of the standard lap there, and we've seen people half spin there before when they get a wheel hooked in it. Baciuszka goes Joker, sorry, Derrida goes Joker when it starts out behind Baciuszka. Parston is all over the back of Szabo now, but doesn't seem able to find a way past.
Szabo, for me, is looking a little bit ragged. He's getting a bit too wide in the dirt sections, and that's where Parsons is able to make it up for him.
So backwards, last lap was a 48.3, so he's gone 48.6, 48.8, 48.3. Fastest lap, as Dan said, was gone up 48.0. Liam Doran, in fact, did a 48.2, so backwards teammate Doran, who went in a very early race, has done a fantastic lap time, but Liam's Joker was a little bit wild. Backwards Joker is pretty much spot on for me. Yeah, bang on Joker lap there for Andreas. Got the car rotated early and had a straight drive out the corner as Baciuszka's now moved up to third. He's going for second. Tidy move, Baciuszka finds the traction. First time we've seen someone do that there. Szabo could get mugged by Parston here if he's not careful. Door-to-door action. Parston has a look. Szabo goes defensive, but Baciuszka takes that position. Backward is already on the start-finish straight. He's just appeared around the wall in the distance. Here we go. Going for fastest time. Oh, he's got it. Backward gets it. 3:25.4. He goes 0.4 of a second faster. It's Andreas Backward who wins Q1 in Canada.
It's an RX Cartel 1-2.
It is. Backward and Doran. Let's hope these guys get a change of luck, because really, Doran should have won in Norway if it hadn't been for the gear lever coming apart in his hands. Backwards had two issues where he could have won, you know, so Spa, he was super close, wasn't he? And then, of course, Silverstone had the problem with the handbrake. So is this the weekend we're going to see the RX Cartel on top? I know Backwards desperate for a win. When was the last one? Argentina 16, was it? I know, whenever you ask him, he's like, it's a long time ago. But he takes this one, so Backward takes the win in Q1. Baciuszka is second, Szabo third, Parsonen and Guillaume Derrida. This is where they slot in. Nobody from that race on the front page except for Andreas Backward. He didn't do the ultimate fastest lap, but what he did do was bang in 4 solid ones, no mistakes, and it's enough to win Q1. Amazing start, look at that, reaction time and traction. He's ahead, Dan, before they kink left.
Yeah, before then, and then just before he's crossed the start-finish line, he's able to slot across the front of everybody and stick it on the inside, so nobody's going to make a lunge on the brakes.
Yeah, tidy move. That's Parsonen getting past Baciuszka. Backward coming through the, is that the double right? Yeah, it is. That's the one that's so important to get right to get the traction. So watch here, Szabo runs the car a little bit deep, and Baciuszka just turns in underneath him. We've seen a few people try to do that. No one had pulled it off until then, and then Szabo then comes into the clutches of Parsonen behind, but he just about manages to hold on. So fantastic drive from Andreas Backward. He takes Q1 with his teammate Liam Doran in P2.
Andreas, it was like you were in a race all on your own. You've got to be happy with the race win and qualifying 1 win.
Well, to be honest, coming or traveling from Norway on Wednesday, I was thinking of the race like, I don't think, you know, different tracks benefit different cars, and I didn't really feel that coming in here to Canada that this track would suit us, but the RX Cartel being P1 and P2 after Q1, I didn't see that one coming. I'm probably the most surprised, but I enjoyed it. The track is going to get more and more rutted up, like you can see now. It was definitely much more rutted up now than in the beginning of the heat, but I enjoyed it. It's crazy, busy in the car, it's warm, but it's so much fun. It's been like a month since we were in the car the last time. I can only say that we are living some cool life to be able to drive such a badass car.
Well done, thank you.
Thank you.
So here are the standings then. Andreas Backward takes it from his teammate Liam Doran. Timmers Yarnov is third, then it's Markland. Timmy Hansen is up there. Niklas Granholm in sixth. Galan Shisharik, good run by him. Timo Scheider in eighth. Baumanis, Baciuszka, who we've just seen on the timing screen, has been given a 5-second penalty for track markers. Kevin Hansen is in 11th. Look, he's going to want to move up from there. Cyril Raymond 12. Szabo doesn't even make the top 12. Neither does Parsonen, Derrida or Bennett. So interesting, the markers around the outside, we saw this in Holius, we're not mad about it, but the rules are the rules. Timothy Janov actually after the event, you remember he got disqualified in Sweden, and he said, look, I've got to suck it in, I've got to avoid the track markers. Pachuska there's hit them and got a warning, hit them and got a 5-second penalty in one race. Pretty harsh, he moves down. But all to play for, 3 sessions still to go, and of course we may be flipping the grids, and that could make a big difference. I'm looking around now, we've still got a bit of a dodgy weather forecast, so let's send the spinner of doom into action and see what it comes up with. Here we go. So is it going to be fastest first or slowest first? Or it's going to be fastest first. So the fastest drivers are going to go first in the next session. And of course that is the opposite way round to normal. So fastest first. Okay, well, I think that's going to play into their hands, Dan, because you know, we have heard the drivers saying about the track conditions changing. Of course, the track will get a little bit regraded, but they're suggesting it gets slower. Having said that, Bakker's just gone out in the last race of the session and nailed it.
Yeah, so the gravel here is really, really thick, so it tends to rut up, and that's what the problem is with the track condition, as well as the run into the last corner. There's so much gravel and marbles gets dragged on. The braking is super difficult into there, so to be the first out on track, especially if they've regraded it, is probably going to be an advantage.
And of course that depends on the weather, and I say it's still looking like we might have some thunderstorms here this afternoon. If it rains and dries, you know, it could get better further into the sessions. If it rains and stays wet, who knows, anybody's guess. It was a great Q1, and looking forward to some more racing later today.
Wow, so that was a nice hectic first session. Qualifying 1 done and dusted. We'll be back on World RX live stream for qualifying 2 in just under an hour and a half. But not only that, if you know how to go from this live stream to the next one, we're going to be live for ARX and ARX2 very, very shortly. So thank you very much for watching. Keep your eyes across all our socials as ever. But we're going to change codes and go to that very, very soon. Thanks to Andrew Coley and Dan Rook. We'll see you very soon.